What are locals?
What are locals?
Locals are the proving grounds. Everyone who's local to the community just kind of comes together, play casuals before the tournament actually starts, and then apply everything you've been labbing in matches.
I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice.
That's only kind of true, AI. Locals are indeed a form of practice, but they are a little bit more than just practice. So, what are locals?
Pretty much the locals are, man, it's just like a proving ground, man. You come out, you learn, you test your tech, man. You come out, you're really trying to just get better as far as your locals and everything like that, man. And that's, the players that come out and participate in their locals, those are the players that help build the scene, man. So essentially, you're building the scene and at the same time trying to level up and keep the competition, say someone comes from out of state or, you're traveling somewhere, it's just how you try to defend home turf or just level up as a unit.
Locals are the building blocks of the fighting game community, or the FGC for short. You get together, whether it be somebody's house, apartment, their hotel ballroom, maybe a garage, whatever you can think of. If you can have setups, the people will come. And on top of that, locals give you a chance to sharpen your skills and get ready for bigger events.
I would say RDR is definitely the spot I come to see where all of my training pays off. Everyone who's local to the community just kind of comes together, play casuals before the tournament actually starts, and then apply everything you've been labbing in matches. And these can be things you've been, kind of working on inside and outside of the game, such as, your mental state while you're playing. You put all that into, you just kind of put all that forth when you come and participate in these events and, gauge your performance after you're done, see where you're going, see where you could have improved on.
I live in a pretty small state. Well, all of us in the video live in a small state. In fact, at one point in time, there were more cows than people. For us, it's really hard to get together in one place often because there's so many small towns and small locations here, and there's only arguably three major cities in our state. But, as Ricky's about to explain, he has a solution for all that.
Hosting video game tournaments is really, really important, especially the small ones. A long time ago, I used to just host tournaments every blue moon, and it always would drop off, and it seemed like there was never events. Even if I hosted a tournament in December, by January, people were like, oh, I didn't know you guys are still doing tournaments. So we started an event called Red Dirt Rumble. Well, Red Dirt Rumble used to be bi-weekly, but we found a niche where by hosting them monthly, we're drawing in more and more gamers that are interested in stuff like Tekken, Street Fighter, and so now we have monthlies. By having monthlies, it creates an avenue for players to get better and then try to might at an event that's small, but not on such a big scale, but still have the same standards.
One thing that really helped out our local and locals across the world really was that the Tekken World Tour added dojo events. Dojo events, essentially, they allowed people to go to their locals and gain points towards the Tekken World Tour, depending on the size of their local. So you could potentially go to your local or monthly and compete against 8 people, 40 people, 50 people, 60 people, and depending on how many people you played against, if you won, you got a certain amount of points. This allowed a lot of players to gain points and standings and have potential to qualify for other events and eventually the finals towards the end of the year by going to their locals and competing, not necessarily having to go to huge events all the time just to gain points. For us here in the OK FGC, that meant we had a little bit more than just pride and bragging rights on the line. We had actual points towards the Tekken World Tour that we can compete for. And because of that, many people came out consistently every month to compete for those points.
I think the Tekken World Tour definitely has like an impact on people, man. It makes them want to come out and, you're like trying to earn those points, and you may not place in the top 10 in the Tekken World Tour overall, but just the fact that you're, competing and trying to earn something, on a bigger platform, I think that, kind of gives players the drive and the motive to come out and compete. And it also, it builds the camaraderie around everybody. You see the people that are really serious about it and come out every month to the monthlies and trying to, grasp and get better at their game and just, put on for their city. So I think they definitely have a big part as far as that goes.
Now the Tekken World Tour, and they've added dojos to their events, and people can actually come to a small grassroots tournament and gain points. Our numbers have tripled since that added. By having the Tekken Dojo added to Red Dirt Rumble, we no longer have just 8-man brackets. We're now averaging between 32 to 50 people each event. Now, by having us have 50 people at our Tekken events, now we can have bigger 64-man brackets at big events that we do annually called Super Bit Wars.
I know we talked a lot about Tekken this episode, and we are going to talk more about Oklahoma Tekken, and in particular K-Lovers in future episodes, but we do have to go. Ricky and David have a couple things I want to add before we depart.
The number one thing I can tell people, if you're really wanting to grow your scene, the first thing you can do, and here's the best thing, is Google and find your local tournament organizers. Find out who's already been doing it. And I guarantee you somebody's already doing it. They may either already have something going or they're looking for help. Once you figure out what the scene is like in your local area, then you need to figure out, okay, what is provided in my area? An example, just because Smash is big in Oklahoma City, it doesn't necessarily mean it's big in, maybe Lawton or somewhere else. So you gotta figure out what is big, not just nationally, but locally. One thing I like to always just throw out there, if you're a competitive gamer and you really wanna take this serious and you just wanna get better, 2 things I always have is my pet peeve. Learn and research. Find out what it takes to be a good gamer. Are you playing on a 42-inch TV? You probably should be playing on a 24-inch monitor. Do you know that when you go to tournaments, you should be bringing your PS4 controller or your pad? You should have a USB cable. You should always do research in something you like. I got a lot of friends that always tell me they're good at Mortal Kombat. I go to their house and we're playing on a 65-inch 4K TV and I don't want to do it. Or, for an example, I had a lot of friends that love Tekken, but they're playing on Xbox. Now, me being an Xbox fanboy, we don't play Tekken on Xbox. We play it on PlayStation 4. So my rule of thumb is just know what you like, and if you really love it, you'll make the adjustments for it.
The Oklahoma fighting game community, I'm really grateful that we have something like this that's close to me where I can come to play Tekken in Soul Calibur. Because I've always wanted to compete in fighting games my whole life, but just the areas I've lived in and where I was financially, that's not something I could have done until kind of Tekken 7 dropped. So I decided to pursue it with everything I have.
But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice.